The first one that I have written down was Dillon Danis versus Jake Paul. And this occurred during a Food Truck Diary that Brendan Schaub hosts. Now, Brendan Schaub was interviewing Dillon Danis. Jake Paul rolled up in a pickup truck, threw water balloons and toilet paper, which was an interesting choice, both of them being interesting choices, and throwing them at at Dillon Danis. Dillon Danis running after the truck and saying that he wants to jump on and strangle. I want to talk about two things about this. If Dillon Danis got onto the back of that truck, he would have strangled and broke everybody's limbs. This whole nonsense of how would a UFC fighter fare in a street fight, listen to me. Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, these are trained killers. Killers that you're antagonizing and throwing water balloons at. If Dillon Danis got into the back of that truck, it would have been game over for everybody there. He studies the art of strangulation. The little bit of boxing that Jake Paul has done will not help him when he's grappling one of the world's best. Next thing I want to talk about when it comes to this. I think this whole thing was like set up. Come on. We can't pretend like this wasn't set up. Like, I mean, Jake Paul's older brother, Logan Paul, was on the Food Truck Diary before Dillon Danis. Now, I get it that maybe Brendan Schaub might have mentioned it and they might have shown up, but they showed up at the exact time and everything was just laid out perfectly. Come on. And even in the Below the Bell podcast, which I love. I love that podcast. I listen to it all the time. But the fact is that he mentioned, Brendan Schaub mentioned a bunch of times that he's the Vince McMahon of this. I'm not a wrestling guy, but I know the fact is that Vince McMahon staged everything that happened in WWE. You're calling yourself Vince McMahon of the sport? Come on, man. But no shame in your game. It's all good. No worries. Do whatever it takes to sell the fight, but like one of the latest Joe Rogan podcasts with Jay Prince, he's a boxing manager, and he mentioned when he was managing Floyd, in some occasions he would tell Floyd to go push his opponent, and it would kind of be all for show, trying to hype up the fight. If managers were telling Floyd to go hype up a fight like that, then what would you imagine these YouTubers would be doing? So I think it's totally set up. If it's not set up, I mean, I think someone, either Dillon Danis and Jake Paul, are in it together. Brendan Schaub or one or the other might be in it. I don't know. I just think there's a collaboration going on here.